Next, I would like to call Dr. Lalita ma'am for her talk on recent advances in microbiology, rapid diagnosis, and for corneal infections.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to our instruction course. So I would be talking on recent advances in microbiology with special emphasis to rapid diagnosis for corneal infections. So actually currently we are in a very exciting time where so much rapid progress is being made in the diagnostic field in microbiology, especially for corneal infections. So our institute is, Aravind Eye Care System is doing a lot of studies on this. So as we all know, microbial keratitis is a very, very important cause of blindness, and there's a varied range of etiology. And as a cornea specialist, everybody's, this thing would be to have a real very good diagnosis, the actual exact diagnosis, and also predicting the prognosis also. So if such a tool was available to anybody, that would be the ideal thing to have. So that's what we are trying to aim in doing in our lab. So before that, I would just very, very briefly talk about the conventional system what we have, and then go on to the rapid diagnostic modalities that we are trying to work on. So as we all know that empiric treatment is still followed, and it's still okay with if you're going to see a lot of bacterial ulcers in your practice. But however, many studies and many experiences have proven this is not so good in our situation. So I just want to show share the data from our lab. So as you see, we have a culture positivity of around 51 to 52%. So at least in this 50%, we are happy. Even if the patient is not resolving or some other complication is there, at least you know that you're dealing with some kind of definitive microbiology culture proven cases. But what about the rest 50%? So that's where the real challenge is, and that's where we are focusing all our diagnostic research purposes on that. And then also we know that the profile of all the organisms through conventional microbiology. So this information is known to most of us. So coming to the conventional microbiology, that's still the gold standard. So you just, whatever technology is coming, whatever the latest things are coming, we still cannot do away with conventional culture with all the problems it has. So we definitely require culture for identification of the organism, and also for the antibiotic sensitivity testing, and for so many other reasons. And among conventional culture, which includes direct microscopy and culture, direct microscopy is so important. So I really want to take a minute to emphasize on the importance of direct microscopy. So it's rapid, preliminary results are available, very inexpensive, and can be performed by everybody. So all the cornea fellows who are trained at Aravind, we try to teach them on how to do a gram stain, how to do a KOH, and how to mount the microscope and identify these common organisms. Like sir was asking, even if there's no microbiology lab, or even if there's no microbiologist, even if your optometrist or technician can be trained in this, that's going to be so useful. So even if you know immediately whether fungal filaments are seen or bacteria are seen, that is enough for you all to start treatment. But the problem with conventional microbiology, culture takes time, and sensitivity, as I showed you just now, it is only around 50%. So that 50% is, I think, is more or less uniform across many labs. I have this thing. So I don't think sensitivity is going to go up above more than 60%, even though you're whatever place you are in, whichever lab you're going to use. So microbiology laboratory is also not available, and the need of the hour is more quicker and accurate diagnostic tests. And also right now, what is of importance and what is of urgency is the point of care. So as we all are aware, most of our patients are all from agrarian and rural areas. So they would first go to a primary health center or a vision center. Now most of the areas have got vision centers. So we want some diagnostic kits which can be used by the vision center technician itself. Because patient might come to us or come to you all only after 2 days, or even after 5 days, or even after 1 month or whatever. So right now, what and all are the combination of things we are having is molecular diagnostic methods, which is conventional PCR and real-time PCR. This everybody is aware. So for the past 20 years, now PCR is more or less become quite common in most of the labs. Now the next thing which we are working on is something called next generation sequencing. So I'll just share what it is next. And then next is called personalized medicine. So most of the meetings you go to, especially in the microbiology meetings, or if you go to all these immunological meetings, everybody's talking about personalized medicine. So although all the speakers were saying this works for Fusarium, this works for Aspergillus, this doesn't work for bacteria, now we are going to take it one step higher and say, even if it's Fusarium for this X patient, this doesn't work or this will work. So we want to go even deeper to have a real personalized treatment for each and every patient. And then we have smart probes and lateral flow assays. So these are what is going to be the point of care. So they're going to be coming out as very, very small kits, which can be used by, just take a fluorescent strip of the ulcer, take the material from that, and then so I'll just show you some pictures on that. And now artificial intelligence is everywhere. In fact, tomorrow we've got series of talks on artificial intelligence. So even our lab is working on something to develop that for gram stain and KOH. So you don't even need a technician. So suppose if you just do the stain and focus it under the microscope, we have a software, that's what our lab is developing. That software will tell us whether fungus is there or bacteria is there. And then finally we have something called CRISPR. So I don't know whether everyone's aware of this latest technology. In layman's terms, it's called gene editing. So it's used so much now, it's come in diagnostic kits are available now, especially in the cancer diagnostics. So that can predict whether cancer is there, prognosis and all. So we are using CRISPR technology for diagnosing fungal keratitis also. So PCR, as I will just not spend too much time, I just want to take time to say that it's a lot of problems with PCR. Next generation sequencing, we just sequence all the data which is there. So you don't have to, it's not like PCR, look for fungus, it can just look for every organism which is there. And then this proteomics, tier proteomics, our lab does a lot of research on tier proteomics, and we are trying to come up with bio molecules which can be used as diagnostic, prognostic and therapeutic also. And this is the point of care which I was talking about. We just got it published 2 years back. So this is a very, very small kit, like a pregnancy kit or like a HIV dot kit. This is now available only for Aspergillus. It's got a very good sensitivity. So now we're working with the company to come up with kits for Fusarium also. And this is the probe thing. And AI, so we just got it published recently now. So this is, now we're going to just scale it up with using more samples in this. Now CRISPR, I will just be very, very brief in telling you this. This is actually the immune mechanism which is there in the bacteria itself. So the bacteria has got this capacity to edit any foreign genes that get into it. So we are capitalizing on this technology which the bacteria has itself to help in identification of other organisms. So we published 2 papers on fungal keratitis and fungal endophthalmitis using CRISPR. So finally, to conclude, I think in future we are going to have a multidimensional approach to diagnosing any ocular infections. So conventional microbiology is still going to be there. And as I said in the beginning, point of care, NGS, targeting biomarkers, artificial intelligence, and CRISPR. So that's the future of microbiology, which I hope will come sooner than later. Thank you.
Any questions?
Dr. Lalita, in the other session also, they were talking about antifungal sensitivity testing also.
Yes.
Nowadays, more and more people are suggesting that. And do you think where we are standing in that?
Because the problem with antifungal testing, even if you're going to do it for one fungus, it's going to take you minimum 5 days. Because you have to wait for the fungus to grow for the MIC to be visible. So whether you want to willing to wait for 5 days for the report, and since the volume is so large, it's very time consuming. That's the only, it's not very expensive. It is very, very cheap only. Only problem is time consuming. You need technicians dedicated to that. But more than that, I don't know whether so many studies have shown that MIC really doesn't matter for fungal keratitis.
Yeah, the correlation, clinical correlation is not there. And another thing, as you said, the fungus, of course, we have to start the treatment immediately. And as you said, only if you get the culture positive, you can do this. There is another 40 to
50%
group which is negative. And in that, what we are going to do? We can't wait for the sensitivity.
You will just have to empirically start.
And another thing, the number of antifungals available
is
only 2 groups are available now, azoles and polyenes, and what is there much to choose among them? That is
Yeah,
also
although
there.
for research
Anyway,
purposes,
yeah.
we do so many antifungals, but all of them are so expensive. It's not worth like all this mycofungin and posaconazole, and we test for everything. Now even that immunomodulator drug, no, the teicoplanin, that's also we're trying to do the sensitivity for. But I don't know whether you can go to use teicoplanin for this thing.